quiet. What happened?
Are we live now?
Hey, well that's real relatable, right on time, mommy.
That's
for
right.
you. Right. So
right.
greetings, champion parents. Welcome back to Mommy Talk. As always, we are here to share information and resources to inspire positive parental engagement. Everybody, come on. We are real, relatable, and right on time. Hey. With Dr. Pert, that's me, Miss Lisa, Miss April.
Hi.
And today, a very special guest champion parent and entrepreneur and community leader, founder of both Ladies Entrepreneur Empowerment Circle and Black Mothers Matter, amongst other great works in the city of Detroit. Please welcome Mrs. Andrea Thomas.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, thank you.
It is early, yes. So this is our first time broadcasting on Sunday. So yes, so definitely again, I want to say welcome to Mrs. Andrea Thompson. I got to get used to the name Thompson. Andrea's been married. Is this 2 years now?
Actually, it's just a little over a year, so we still kind of newlyweds. I'm super excited.
Okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yes, what a blessing. Yeah, so we're excited to have you. You are doing a lot of great things here in the city of Detroit. And I've seen the birth of your projects and how they have really taken off. So I'm impressed. I'm motivated. I'm encouraged. All of those feelings. And just quickly, because y'all know I could be really long-winded. Andrea and I had a conversation yesterday, and I don't know if she always means to do this, but she's very, you might as well call yourself a minister. I don't know if that's next in the word for you, but just in conversation, she's able to motivate, and give you quick ministry. So I really appreciated that because I felt inspired. So I was ready and pumped for today. So again, I just want to say welcome.
Thank you. That was such a warm welcome. I really appreciate the invite to your lady show today. I have watched your broadcast. It's very inspirational and very uplifting. And thank you so much, Lisa. I am not a minister, but I do love the Lord. And the word tells us that the people should be able to see God in us. So Amen. I try to make sure that people feel love like I feel from God.
Yes, may the God in me see the God in you. Amen.
Yeah,
I love it. Yes. So who is so I know the viewers want to know. I know we know who Andrea Thompson is, but who is Andrea Thompson?
So Andrea Thompson first is a mother. I'm a wife. But ultimately, I'm an educator. I've been with Detroit Public Schools for 22 years. I've worked with juvenile delinquents, neglected and abused children now for over 25 years. I'm a community activist, and I'm an innovator. Really what it comes down to for me is accepting the call of God that's upon my life. I started hearing from the Lord at a very young age. And for most of us to do this work, some of us get recognition for it and some of us don't. So I really appreciate any platform, anytime I'm able to share my story. So thank you again for having me here today. So you have to be called to this work because you have to have a passion for what you believe in. You have to know who you're fighting for, and you have to know what's important to you. And for me, as a Black woman in America, my family has always been important, my children. And, you just can't stand by on the sideline and let things happen, to you and your family. You have to get involved. And so that's where it started for me. So it went from being a mother to an activist because I was passionate about my kids being in a safe community, my kids getting a quality education, right? Until I found out my son was attending the lowest performing school in America. Like the nerve, it's just so disrespectful. The quality of education that children of color are exposed to in their communities. It's just so unfortunate and so unfair. And so, taking on that fight, making sure my son had rights to literacy, You know, my goal is to inspire other parents, right? You have to get up and fight for your child, even if you don't fall in a tax bracket, you know, that America may focus on, right? Because we know who we have in the White House right now. He only focused on a certain tax bracket. But you have in the city of Detroit, 70% of households are led by women. 70% of households are led by women, according to data. And the average salary in the city of Detroit is like $20,000. And so $20,000. And we know with children, you know, you when you look at our city, you're looking at women and children. And many are living in poverty. And so
I just want to touch on something you said about your child being in the lowest performing school. And I with that, you know, I want to give a shout out to the teachers, the educators in Detroit Public Schools, because, and I know what you mean by that, because you know, we're in a district which most inner city districts are, you know, they lack resources. And that's what your fight was about, you know, and you guys won that. And I'm gonna say congratulations on that as well. That was a very powerful lawsuit and a powerful win, and very encouraging to a lot of people who saw it from the beginning to the end. But I wanted to add something real quick for people to think about. Welcome, champion parents, if you're out there listening. But I want you to think about this question. And I know a lot of champion parents, because we all sometimes feel weary, you know, we don't know how we're going to do it, but we know we're going to do it. How do you create a village without village people? And that was a conversation we had recently. So going back to the lawsuit, the rights to literacy, can you tell us about that?
Yes, so thank you for this question. This is an amazing question. So the literacy lawsuit was actually birthed out of some amazing Detroit teachers who led the Sick Out in January. So in January, we were on break, if my memory recall, and we noticed that at the time, the emergency manager, Darnell Early, was responsible for the Flint water crisis. He was over the schools. And so these amazing, wonderful Black women teachers, right? They all gathered us and we talked and we said, hey, these kids are in like filthy school building conditions, you know, they're inhumane, you know, and for all the listeners, just know that Michigan is number 50 on the funding list in the United States for education. So not only we're the lowest state in the United States of America for funding, but we even have the lowest performing schools in America. And so that gathered the attention of the lawyers. And so they said, hey, what's happening to you all is a hate crime, right? So they came here and they met with DFT. Ivy Bailey at the time was the president.
Yeah. I was getting ready to give her a shout out. I'm like, wait a minute. Yes.
Let me tell you something. Nothing gets done without Black women. I tell people all the time, if you want something done, get you some Black women on your team. And I don't want to start calling a lot of names, but I do want to call a few. And so she called me and she said, hey, we have lawyers in town. They want to meet with parents. And we know that you've been over there fighting the fight for a better education, you know, for these kids, and your son is there. So I met with the lawyer and the rest is history, but he said, hey, you know, we Can't win a lawsuit like this without the community. So I want to shout out the community. Everyone knows the legendary Helen Moore. I have been working with her for like 20 years. She had taught me so much. So I went and got her, and I went and got so many other parents. I went and got Coach Will's son. You know, Coach Will was working at the school with us, and the community, we all fought. And so we won. And I just want to say to parents, it wasn't easy as a mother standing up against the state of Michigan, especially since I was employed.
Yeah, that definitely.
I had a right. I had a right as a mother. I have a right as a mother to advocate for my child. You know, he has every right to get the same education as his peers that's 6 miles up the street, Grosse Pointe schools, that's like fully resourced and fully funded. And when you compare the two schools, you're like, well, what is the difference? They're only 6 miles apart, right? And our children deserve better. But you know, I witnessed firsthand my son coming home 4 years in a high school with no books, right? And so, you know, this is insane. I work every day. I pay taxes. And so this is what Malcolm X meant by the Black woman is the most disrespected woman in America, you know, because it's like the whole time we as mothers, we have been meeting with politicians. We have been meeting as a community. We were organized. We were doing protests with the students. But who knew Bessie DeVoe was buying politicians? So they say. So the vote was bought, right? And so our voices just went unheard. You know,
so,
but
I have a question real quick, Andrea, not to cut you off, but what year did you do the literacy lawsuit? What year was that?
We filed in 2016.
Okay.
We filed in 2016, and so we filed it downtown Detroit in front of federal court.
Yeah, because I just find it really interesting that you did that around that time, because you remember around 2012, and I think it ended in 2016 where the EAA came in, where the state came in. They had this new initiative where they wanted to take over the lower performing schools, transform them, and raise their literacy scores. But we know as Detroiters that didn't happen. The schools came back with decreased enrollment, and their scores were actually lower than they were when they first went to the EAA. So it's just really interesting how they have these new initiatives saying, okay, we're going to help and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But we still got at the bottom barrel as far as education. So I'm glad you point that out. And I'm happy that you took initiative, even though, you know, it probably conflicted with your being an educator, you know, just to even, you know, pursue and, you know, follow through with the lawsuit.
Amen.
Well, I appreciate that. And everything that you said is correct. But just know since 1619, they haven't wanted us to be literate. So, you know, this was more of a fight and a follow-up from the Brown versus Board of Education. There was many, many, many that have came before us, and there will be many after us. This was just an opportunity that I want to say God gave me, because you can't win a fight like this without God. Your steps have to be ordered. Right. And he has to go before you. And I just want to say that I don't believe it was coincidence or by happenstance that my son, who I love, is sitting in the lowest performing school in the country. Like, I had no idea. But what I did see my son and those children suffer. They suffered, you know, with the cuts, the cutting of the programs, the breaking of the village. So Lisa asked the question to go back to the village. So let's talk about the village. I grew up in the 70s. In the 70s, the village was strong, right? I have the same friends now. It's about maybe 30 of us. It's really more than that, because when in the 70s in Detroit, the neighborhood schools were open. We lived, the houses were not vacant. So the same kids you woke up in the morning and walked to school with, right? And you went to school with all day, you came home and you played with those kids from elementary, middle school to high school. In the schools, the same teachers were there in that same school for like 30, 40 years. So they may have taught your mom or your aunt or a cousin. You know, you had custodians that were DPS employees who had been in one building for 30 years, the secretary. So the village was strong in the school and in the community. So when you say, how can you create a village without the village people? That's a very profound and powerful question. And I would say the first thing is we have to call a village meeting and call the village back to the table. And we have to redefine roles, because it is 2020 and we have to have discussion of what it looks like for us to work together for our children. But back then, the schools was a strong village. And, you know, many of the leaders back then said that the state wanted to come in and they wanted to destroy that village. And I was young when I heard these conversations, but as I grew up, I started noticing that it seemed to be true. You contract out custodians, you contract out engineers, you contract out the buses, you contract out the security, you contract out the kitchen staff, and he started breaking the unions, and he started taking everything from our children. It was like mayhem, and anyone who worked in Osborne during those years know it was complete mayhem some days. And so it was hard. It was hard for all of us, but as a mother, what kept me going, because she asked the question, is my love for my son. My love for my son.
That's right.
Yes, as a mother, God give us supernatural powers. You know, we give birth. It's nothing that we can't do. And I want to say that to every mother out there listening. You know, we carry children, we give life. There's nothing we can't do. There's nothing we can't do. So if we tap into our superpower and we just stand up.
And let me add again. You know, you're bringing so much knowledge and awareness, a lot for all of us to think about. So champion parents. So, you know, we as Mommy Talk, we have coined the term champion parent, which basically means that we know we're not perfect. And, you know, we have to explain this sometimes, because when people hear, you know, what makes them champion parents? Well, we know that we're champion parents. We just want you to know that you're champion parents as well. You know, so we're not like, it's not an arrogant thing, but it's a thing, it's confidence, you know, and it's us believing in ourselves, and it's us trying to make sure that, you know, you believe in yourself as well. What was the other thing? Oh my goodness. So I have to say again about the village. The village is so important, and we talk about that all the time. You know, however, we know as champion parents, sometimes we feel alone, we feel overwhelmed, we don't know who to call. A matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a real quick. Just the other day, I was just going through it. I put a post on Facebook, and my post said, "How do you create a village? How do you create a village without village people?" And I was just having some disagreements with my son, if you will. And I just started calling on like my cousin, my uncle, my brother, you know, and they, you know, they were busy, but little by little they started trickling in like, look, hold on, you know, what's going on? And he was able to talk to family, and, you know, we were good. But sometimes, you know, it's like we have to be able to lean on someone. When people say, well, let me know what you need, you know, take them up on it. We don't take people up on their offers, you know, when they say, let me know what you need. So that's how you build your village. There is somebody, and like you, and I want you to go to your story where you talked about how you created your village, you know, although you did have some family members, but you also leaned on your village.
So wait, I also want to say something too. Car, I really like your glasses. Those are nice. And then the second thing, I'm feeling you when you say how Mrs. Thompson motivates you, because as I'm listening and just soaking everything in, while she was talking, she motivated me to send out this email. Okay. So I just sat here and sent out an email to somebody. So
she's sneaky with it. That's why I said she don't even realize what she's doing sometimes. She real sneaky with it. It's like, bam, like, dang, did she just get me? Did she just motivate me real quick?
So I know she's motivating other champion parents out there who are tuning in, listening. And the last thing too, before we go, I do want to see you do that dance, Miss Andrea. If you like it, just put a ring on it. Wait, I know I messed up the whole words, but you know, Okay, but back to Car's question though.
Okay, yes. So back to Car's question. So at one time I found myself young, pregnant, and I needed help and I needed support. Shout out to my parents. I couldn't have did it without them. At one time I broke my dad's heart. He couldn't believe his baby girl was pregnant, but I was. And so I immediately had to humble myself. So before I'm saying this out there to mothers, champion mothers, you are a champion mother. You have to believe that within yourself first. You gave birth. So that's what makes you a champion. You survived that. And so you have to humble yourself and start building your village. If you don't have parents, if you don't have family support, reach out, get to know your neighbors. Get to know your neighbors, join a church. I made sure I was in church my entire life, even though my life didn't line up all the time, but I still wanted to have a goal to be right one day. And so developing those relationships with the church mothers, a lot of those church mothers are retired. They would love to keep your baby. They're very good caregivers, excellent. Building your village, meeting other mothers like yourself who need support. Me and my friends.
Can I add to that point? I want to add to that point, because I know sometimes, like how you're saying, you know, reach out to people. So I know sometimes we feel that we don't want to reach out to people because we don't want to be a burden. So, but my thing to that is, you know, it could be, remember that, what's the movie, Single Moms Club, where they kind of helped each other. So how about I do this for you, you do this for me. So if you're worried about being a burden, why don't, you know, make it a give take relationship. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, and so you're absolutely right. You don't want to be a burden, so you don't want to burn out one person. So you want to build a strong village. But my strongest village was with other Black women who had children. We became friends. Our children used to play together. And you know, back then, we didn't just let our kids go outside by themselves. We went outside and sat on the porch because we want to know who you playing with, and we want to know what y'all playing. And so that's how I met a lot of other mothers, and we worked together. And so don't be afraid to network and meet new people. You can meet people through other people. So yeah, build your village. And just, if you believe in love, if you don't let this world and the cares of this world steal the ideal of love from you, just know it's people out there that want to love you. They want to help you. They want to support you, but a closed mouth don't get fed. So you got to talk.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
All right, 2 snaps in the circle.
I want to be loved. So okay, so what's a typical day like for you?
Okay, so a typical day like for me now,
busy. It sounds busy.
So it is super busy. It's different now from when my children was little. So I want to make the distinction. I believe that your first ministry is your home. God established the church in the book of Acts. So when my children were little, they were first. I wasn't trying to run around here and do as much community work, and I wasn't trying to be a boss entrepreneur. My children were first. So I had to make sure they were fed, they were clothed, they was doing their schoolwork, they was getting to their practices and their games, because our roles as mothers, I believe, is once you become a mother, your children come first. And so your job is to develop their gifts and talents and prepare them for the world independently from you, because tomorrow isn't promised. We may not be here, and you want to make sure that your children can function without you. So I spent a lot of my children early years pouring into them. It was all about them, right? So I didn't date after my first relationship failed. I didn't date, and my son did not see another man in his house until from age 4 years old until he came home from college. 30 days after he came home from college, he did the baby boy. You got this man in our house. But God kept his promise and sent me a husband. And so mothers out there, believe in God for a husband. You know, you don't have to sell yourself short. God always keep a ram in the bush. And it's not on your time, it's his time. And as soon as you stop thinking about it and just prepare yourself to be a wife, carry yourself as one, operate as one, and be loving. Because love attracts love. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen.
I'm listening. Amen.
Amen.
Well, listen, so champion parents out there, if you guys have any questions, please post them in the chat and we will address them if we can as they come in, or if you want to give a shout out.
So we have people who said hello. Fashion Kiki Corbin said, hey, Lisa, and hey, Mommy Talk ladies. Chris Harrell says good afternoon. Sean Black, hey, Mommy Talk. Hey, Chris.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, Rose. Hey, April and Mommy Talk. Hey, Rose. Thank you for listening. Trish says hello. Yes, and then so Fashion Kiki Corbin, who's a viewer, she says, how do you separate the line of spoiling children and loving them appropriately while preparing them for adversities and the challenges of life?
That's a good question. And it's kind of almost like the question of even, why should you keep your kids active? You want to take it, Andrea? Ask the question one more time, Ms. April.
Okay. How do you separate the lines of spoiling children and loving them appropriately while preparing them for adversity and the challenges of life?
So that is really hard. But I'm a Christian, so my faith teaches me, the Bible teaches, don't spoil the child, because don't spare the rod, you'll spoil the child. So there is a balance. So, I kind of look at how my parents raised me, my grandparents, I looked at my great-grandparents. It's really good to get in tune with your family tree and know what your traditional beliefs are. It's good to know who you are, because in turn, that's what you're going to instill in your child. So you do want to prepare your child, like I said, to be independent of you. So you don't want to spoil them, because if you spoil them, remember, they're going to be expecting somebody else to keep that up. And you don't want them to end up in the hands of the wrong people, because they're used to being taken care of, and they're not used to having to earn anything. And so when my children were very young, they're mostly successful now, because they're not perfect. They're still working on things. Because when they were as little as 2, I gave them responsibilities. They had to clean up their toys if they pulled out. I remember my oldest daughter, I started her hair business when she was like 8. And by the time they were like in middle school and high school, they were making money because of their natural gifts and talents. I started having them pay bills in the house, little small bills, like their own cell phone bill, or, I heard Lisa say, have them give a couple dollars towards gas. So you want to provide that balance. You just don't want them to think that life is about someone else, right? Providing 100 expenses for their livelihood and their lifestyles. You want to teach them that they have to earn that and what that looks like. And your house becomes the first training ground for that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in school.
Yeah, very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. So we do have another question, and thank you for answering that so eloquently and so exact. Okay. So another parent said, how do you balance not losing yourself while helping your children explore their talents while being a single parent? That could be challenging. So if you can elaborate and answer that question for us, please.
Yes, now that is a marvelous question and one of my all-time favorites, because the first thing you have to tell yourself is they're not going to be children always. And when they become of age, you're not going to be able to control their life, their relationships. They're going to move on without you. Mm-hmm. And you don't, first of all, you have to see yourself as a mother of an adult. Right now, you may be a mother of a minor, but it looks very different once they become adults, right? Your role changes, which means you're going to have a lot more free time. They're not going to want you micromanaging their time, what they wear, where they're going, who they with, what they doing, And believe it or not, it starts once they get on that college campus and they come home the first time, right? They may have left with a, a rule to be in by a certain time, right? But then they come back from the college campus like, I haven't been on the campus up all night, so you got to find you something to do. You have to make sure that you're doing self-care and that you have mommy time and that you spend time with yourself and that you're still working on you and that you remember that you was on this earth before they were born. Mm-hmm. And so who were you before you became a mother? And how will you pick up those dreams after they leave your house? And so one of the things is I rely on my faith, because you don't want to end up with high blood pressure, worrying all the time, right? Because, I had older women used to say, once they leave your lap, then they remain on your heart. They become, a burden on your heart. So talking to older women with grown children can help you prepare for what that's going to look like. But you don't want to lose yourself and be one of those mommies that's like living through their kids' lives and you have no life outside of them when they're grown, because it's going to strain the relationship. They're not going to like it, especially when they get a mate. And if you got a son, he bringing home a girl. My son already done tried it. He ain't in a relationship right now, thank you, Jesus. But I know he gonna be in love because he just that kind. He was giving her all his money. He was doing everything for her. And those days are coming. So you got to get ready to transition yourself, and your little girl is going to become a woman. She's going to be looking at you. You got to remind her, right, that you're not a friend, I'm the mother. So, but you, and how you do that is you don't lose who you are. What do you do to make yourself happy? Do you ever have mommy time? Do you ever send them to their room and say, don't talk to me for an hour? I used to do that. You got to train them. It teach them how to be more mannerable and respectable to teachers too. I say, don't talk to mommy for an hour. Mommy need an hour. Right? You
I like that.
You good.
I really like that.
Don't call my name. You have to train them. You not to always be the center of attention. It's not always about you. And you training them to take care of you when you get old. When I get old, you got to think about me for an hour.
Really like how you said, don't try to live your life through your children. That right there, that spoke volumes, because I've actually heard and witnessed some people who've actually tried to do that. You know, they don't necessarily say it, but you know, you can pick up on those cues. And I think that's very important as a parent, that for you not to live your life through your children. Just very powerful words of wisdom that you just gave us. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that I don't think that parents do it. Of course, they don't do it intentionally. Most of them don't do it intentionally. But sometimes parents feel like, God, you know, I really missed the boat, or I missed that mark. So now, okay, I got the opportunity, you know, like I have to be careful with dancing. You know, I'm a dancer. And so my daughter, she dances, and I'm always like, did you do your stretches today? What are you doing? Have you been watching any of the training videos? So I have to sometimes, you know, you still have to allow your kids to be who they are, but you cannot. And I love that so much. And every time I think about that topic, I always think about Miss April, because Miss April is always, you know, on that, like, don't lose yourself. You know, you can still be a great parent and be into yourself and take care. It's self-care. That's what I want to get into, self-care. So yes, that's so important. And so I wanted to ask the question about, so with everything that's going on, you know, speaking of losing yourself, you know, we're still going through this pandemic, and it's been very stressful. A lot of people have been going through anxiety, depression, losing themselves. And so how did everything, or how is everything affecting you and your family?
So that's a great question. I want to send prayers and love out to everyone who have lost someone during this time. It can be a very stressful time if your faith is not strong in God. My faith in God is very strong. I trust him no matter what is happening. He is over good and bad. And so some things we will never be able to understand in life. But for me, I see things spiritually first before I see them naturally, because I believe we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience. And right now, it's a blessing and a curse in so many different ways. And blessings for the families to be back home. I feel like God is restoring the families. We can see through the virtual world, so many parents are now being reconnected to even helping their children do their education. And people are starting to come back together. You know, we talked about the broken village and the village being reborn. I see a lot of rebirthing of the village. I see a lot of people reaching out to each other to help each other now during these times. We're starting to realize how much we need each other. And so I just want to be an encouragement to those mothers out there right now that may be stressing financially. Start looking at ways to use your natural gifts and talents to start businesses. You know, I'm the founder and CEO of Ladies Entrepreneur Empowerment Circle, where I brung Black women together all over Detroit and the world to patronize each other, to keep each other in business. So we build each other each other up as entrepreneurs and businesswomen. You know, we have. And so I encourage us to support each other and shop with each other. So many of us is very gifted and talented. So I would say to mothers during this time, you know, look at ways to start businesses right from home, and working with your children and allowing your children to start businesses right at home, you know, with technology, getting more familiar with that and using that power to build wealth. And as far as dating, I'm not dating anymore. Thank you, Jesus. I've had my share of that, but I do want to share some techniques that I did.
You're dating your husband. You're still dating because I've seen you guys go on dates. So you're just dating your husband.
I'm dating my husband. So, but I want to be supportive to single mothers. When I did have to go through dating as a single woman, when you have minors, I don't believe in bringing those men around the children. You want to go ahead and right now I've heard of virtual dating. I've heard single mothers been doing virtual dating. I like that idea. I think it's a great way to get to know someone and stay safe. And so be open to that. You know, just be open to new things and a new beginning. You know, don't let, as far as anxiety and depression, I ride my bike. Every day I try to ride my bike. Every day try to do some type of exercise, try to do some type of affirmations. I love Sarah Jakes, TD Jakes' daughter. So I listen to that. You have to do something to keep your mind clear. When those negative thoughts come and those negative energy, get rid of negative people. Don't have negative conversations. Learn how to block. Learn how to block.
So I have a question. How does somebody kiss on a virtual date though?
So I'm thinking it may not be no kissing on a virtual date, but what I do like about the virtual dating idea to my single sisters out there is it can't catfish because you got to see how the person really look. So ain't no catfishing, right? And you know, you might can learn a lot about their demeanors and their tones. You know, hey, be creative, be innovative. And
yeah, I like what you just did, Car. I think that was possible a good way.
What she say? That's a good one.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah,
but at least you know you're not gonna get a relationship of lust, because there ain't no flesh involved. It won't be lust.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah. Unless they take the what is it, the phone sex to the screen sex.
I don't know about that.
Right, what?
I'm saying, you know, they do. People, y'all heard of people doing phone sex.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying now. Okay.
Right.
Here you go. Duh. Okay.
Well, we don't want the mothers do that because that's showing like you desperate. You don't want to show up like you desperate.
Right. And keep in mind, they can record the screen.
They can record the screen.
all over the internet. You know, they love sharing videos. So
they love sharing videos.
So you'll be all over. That's right. Yeah. So we have one last question from a parent. She wants to know, how do you not give up on your child when they just don't care about anyone, and their behavior is horrible? You have done everything. Where do you turn? Like, what resources are available?
So the first thing that comes to my mind is, Donnie McKirkland, when you have done all you can do, just stand. And first of all, I want to say to mothers, there's no such thing as giving up, even though we all feel like we want to give up a million times over. But just know that you have powerful blood running through your veins. There has been so many powerful mothers before you who look like you, who have been in your situation and worse situations, but they stayed strong and they stayed the course. And believe me, if you become weak in God's strength, he will supernaturally strengthen you. So never lean on yourself. Never give up on the ideal that it can work and it can be fixed. And believe me, God got somebody that's going to send into your life to help you resolve your situation. But you do want to be resourceful. You want to link yourself to people that's working in the community. You want to call city council and get on their email database. So when resources come through the mayor's office, you make sure you get those emails. You want to go on Facebook and social media on the City of Detroit websites, and you want to see what resources are available. You want to talk to your friends and your family to see who has businesses and who work at jobs that can employ you and your children. But you never want to give up on God, because he's not going to give up on you, but you don't want to give up on yourself. And sometimes I think it's easy for us to give up on ourselves because we feel like we owe our children so much, and we try to live up to these ideals of who we should be that we created. Sometimes we create a false image of who we should be based on what we see on TV, based on what our families are saying to us, based on, you know, what's coming across the music. But sometimes you got to turn all that noise off, shut the world off, and you have to get quiet and get quiet within yourself and remember what's important. Your child needs love. Love is powerful. Love conquers all. And as long as you never stop loving your child, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have all the answers. Being a mommy is not about having all the answers. It's an experiment. It's an experience. But you want to make it the most memorable experience as you can by giving your own self grace and mercy, forgiving yourself, saying it's okay that I couldn't be super mommy at this particular moment. But you can make up for it in other ways. And you don't want your child to think you're the perfect mommy, because then you're going to introduce them to a delusional, perfect world and perfect people. And you don't want them to see later by seeing that people are not perfect. So let them see the vulnerable side of you. Let them see that, and let your child pray for you. I want to say that children can get a prayer through. It was times, you know, when I was in my 20s and depression would try to sit in, I couldn't pray, but I went to my daughters like, you the worshiper, you the interceder, I need you to pray. Them kids can get a prayer through. Let your kids lay hands on you. You'd be surprised what come out those children's mouths.
Yeah.
That bond with your children before they're 18 is very important, because once they leave your house, they are gone. And so everything that you are instilling in them now matters. So don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah. And I like what you said about basically just being humble and let your kids know that you're not perfect. It's okay to tell your child you don't know. I know sometimes we're riding in the car. My son asked me a ton of questions and I'm like, what is this boy talking about? I'm like, son, you know what? That's a great question. Let's look it up together, because I really don't know. So definitely not be afraid to let your kids know that you just simply don't know. So what's next for you? What can we expect next for Miss Andrea Thompson? I know I keep saying Andrea. I know it's Andrea, but you know.
Yeah, so what's next for me is, so now that we have the ruling upheld in the state constitution in the state of Michigan for Black children to have access to literacy, I'm working to get it in the other 49 states. And so in the midst of that, I'm working for the state of Michigan to be the leader on literacy and increasing our literacy numbers, because as we know in the city of Detroit, we have a very low literacy rate amongst our population. I want to say it's less than 50% that's literate. Only like 11% of Detroiters have bachelor's degrees, and we know the future is education. And so mothers, we need to work together. We need to educate each other's children. We need to educate each other's children. And I want to say to the churches, you know, this is a great time for the churches to step up. You know, you have a lot of saints that's educated that can be helping to tutor these children. Maybe the churches can open up the buildings, and a lot of retirees can come in there and help tutor the children with their laptops and their homework and work with the parents. And right now we have 3 open seats coming for the school board. And so I'm one of the lead hosts committee people that's fighting for Sherry Gay Denego to get on the school board because she's a fighter. And we need somebody to fight for our children. So I want to say to mothers out there, you are a champion and your voice matters. And you have to get involved in politics. You have to, because we live in a political society. So, you know, encouraging everyone in your family 18 and over to register to vote and to go vote, and having conversations with your neighbors about voting. So what's next for me is making more of an impact and being more powerful and strategic, and what my role is in helping liberate our people. You know, each one of us is on this earth for a reason. And I just want to make sure when I leave this earth, like Chad, our Black Panther, said, he wanted to die empty. He wanted to use all of his gifts and talents that God had bestowed upon him. And God blessed him so much that he used them, because he did so many famous legendary roles and films that he wanted to do. And he got that message out. And so as a mother, just know you are more than a mother. We are a mother first, but who are you outside of a mother? And I'm going to make sure I find out who that is. And until the day I take my last breath on this earth, I'm going to be working to liberate our people. So I want to wrap up by saying, with Ladies Entrepreneur Empowerment Circle, I'm actually working with developers to get some buildings developed on the east and the west. They're going to be called think tanks, somewhere for women to develop ideas around entrepreneurship, starting businesses. Women going to have businesses in those buildings. We're all going to be a sisterhood and support each other. I'm building villages. That's what I want to do. And looking for forced retirement early on with DPS so that I can really do ministry in the community.
Yes, yes. Yes, well, amazing message. We definitely appreciate you and all your resources and your never-ending fight for not only your children, but also Detroit children overall. We definitely appreciate you being a pioneer.
Can you provide your followings for our viewers also?
Yes. In the chat, you want me to provide the information?
No, yeah, you can put them in the.
You can just say it, and I could put it in the Mommy Talk.
Okay,
yeah. That's
okay. So you want me to give my contact information?
Yeah.
Maybe your I'll just put the Facebook group in there.
Okay. So So it's Andrea Thompson. Yeah. So it's Andrea Thompson, Andrea. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, Andrea Lorena Thompson, Lorena Thompson, Thompson. And I'm the founder and CEO of Ladies Entrepreneur Empowerment Circle. You can find us on Facebook. We have a group. You ladies join the group. Even if you haven't started your business, you should join the group, because you will be inspired and gain a lot of knowledge from other seasoned entrepreneurs that will motivate you to get started. If you're in business, you want to join the group, you can gain, right now we have over 4,000 of us in Detroit. So you have over 4,000 customers seeing your products and your services patronize you. And we have over 7,000 worldwide. And Black Mothers Matter Michigan, get involved. If you're a mother, we're organized and together to advocate for our children's education, our children's well-being, our children's safety in the community. As mothers, we deserve a seat at the table. We have a rightful position at the table. And as mothers, we should be the first point of reference at the table. I know a lot of times there are a lot of professionals and a lot of people who want to speak on our behalf, but we are carrying these children for 9 months. These are our children. We are the first to feed our children and bathe our children. So we know what's best for our children. So you want to get involved as a mom. And if you don't know where to start right at your child's school, even through virtual learning. Working together with the school district and your teacher to make sure your child's teacher to make sure your child get the best virtual learning education as possible. So that's what I do. Just building. I'm constantly building. And if you have a senior in high school, I'm a college advisor and I have over 1,000 scholarships on my email address. So email me at ladies, LADIES ESEEC 2019 at Gmail. That's ladies EEC 2019 at gmail.com. And I will send you those resources and scholarships.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And for the viewers that's listening, please leave me when I say she will send you resources. So please take advantage of it. I mean, and because you do send a lot of resources, and I mean, but there are so many for people to choose from. So, you know,
Yes.
I mean it when I say it, you know, it's a blessing. So, you know, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I'm going to pass it over to Miss April. This has really been a joy.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here, and everything we talked about. It just felt good just being a mom. So thank you for this platform. Thank you, and continue to do the work.
Yeah, well, we want to thank you, Andrea, and we're grateful for your presence today. You definitely shared a lot of resources, very inspirational and positive. And we just thank you for being a champion parent.
Thank you.
We want to make sure that we're telling our listeners to be safe. Make sure you wear your mask, use your hand sanitizer, and remember to practice effective social distancing. Make sure you're registered to vote, and then make sure you research your candidate and vote for whomever you feel is best for your family. Again, thank you, Andrea, for coming. I followed your success over the years. You're definitely awesome person. We'll definitely list your resources and your page on our platform so parents can reach out for you for your services. So again, thank you. Oh, no problem. Thank you. And also thank you to our Facebook Live audience for tuning in to Mommie Talk. Continue to visit our website and our social media platforms at Mommie, MOMMIE Talk Network. And until next time, remember that we're on now on every Sunday at noon. So that'll be our new time that we'll do Facebook Live. Thank you.
Bye.